Let's welcome in our panel as we begin a Monday morning. We start with commentary editor for the Washington Times, Kelly Sadler, and Project 21 National Advisory Board member and radio podcast host Christopher Arps with us this morning. Great to have you both on. Kelly, we'll start with you. You're in our nation's capital. I know that you live in Virginia, and Saturday, for the first time in 12 years, a Republican elected statewide, and Glenn Youngkin took the oath of office on Saturday. It was quite a ceremony. He signed 11 executive orders day one Saturday. Today's his first Monday. Today's the real day one for him as the new governor in Virginia. What'd you make of that, though? 11 executive orders for a governor. Now, we typically see that for a president. You know, Joe Biden signed more than 20 on January 20th last year. What'd you make of that for day one of Glenn Youngkin?
Well, he's already delivering on his campaign promises, right? One of his EOs was that parents can decide whether they want to mask their children in public schools, which was a key tenet of his campaign, as well as abolishing critical race theory. Now, we've already got pushback over the weekend with Fairfax County, with Arlington County, with Alexandria city school systems that say that they're going to maintain the masks. They're going to follow CDC guidance. And then you had Youngkin hitting back and saying, hey, if you want to do that, fine. Then I can restrict some state funding. So we're going to see this battle play out in the state of Virginia because Glenn Youngkin came in swinging. I was very glad to see it. It's what he was elected to do. Parents are frustrated with the school system. That was the #2 most pressing issue in his campaign, which delivered him the governorship. So I'm glad to see this reform being made on day one.
Yeah, such a good point, Kelly. Chris, so Youngkin says that public schools in the state of Virginia, you do not have to wear a mask. Now, if kids want to wear masks, if parents want their little kids to wear masks, by all means, wear a mask, wear two, wear one of those NOSH-approved respirators that the CDC encouraged people to buy. By the way, those things are like $20 a piece if you get one of those good respirators. But that's what the CDC did on Friday. They came out with new guidance. Here we are, almost 24 months into COVID-19, and they do this on Friday, so it doesn't get a lot of attention, Chris. But the CDC says that they are encouraging people to buy KN95 or N95 masks. How big a problem is that, Chris, that 2 years into this pandemic where we've been told that masks work, masks don't work, cloth masks don't work, that they are once again changing the guidance when it comes to masking in America?
Well, I think it once again shows that the CDC and Fauci are making it up as it goes along. I think it ultimately shows that the paper and cloth masks didn't work. And so now they're encouraging everyone to get these N95 masks, which I'm worried about. Now you may have a run on them and we may not have enough of them. I think there shows also that the administration is behind the curve. Reports are showing that Omicron is starting to peak in many of the cities where it was very pervasive. So again, it shows the administration's behind the curve.
Good point, Chris. Kelly, we had 800,000 cases, new cases on one day over the weekend. That's a record. Glenn Youngkin brought this up in his inaugural address, and I think it's appropriate. Is it time to start asking if masks are really better than no masks? Because right now, everyone is wearing masks and everyone's getting the Omicron variant. Everyone's coming down with COVID.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, in Washington, D.C., for example, over the weekend was instituted, now you need a vaccine passport along with a photo ID to go to a gym, to go to a restaurant, to grab a coffee, right? There's mask mandates throughout the city. And this has done nothing. We look at New York City, for example. We just instituted ours, but it has done nothing in New York City to slow the spread. And then you look at states like Florida and Texas, which have been relaxed with their mandates all along. Did they see peaks this summer with Delta? Absolutely. But this is a seasonal virus that's endemic, that's not going away. We need to learn to live with it. And the statistics have proven in states that don't have these mandates and in states that do have these mandates, there's basically no difference in the people contracting and transmitting this virus and the caseloads.
Yeah, it's such a good point. I want to show you, Kelly, the mayor of Washington, Muriel Bowser. She put this tweet out at the end of last week. It went into effect, as you said, on Saturday. But here it is. And if you're at home, just pay attention to this for a minute because it's pretty ridiculous. Remember that starting on Saturday, you'll need these 3 things before heading out. All right? Proof of vaccination, 12 years plus. Proof of vaccination and photo ID. 18 years plus a mask. The exact same policy just went into effect on Saturday in the city of Boston. Yet Democrats are still pushing this voter ID bill where presumably millions of people would be able to vote in this country without an ID. Do we not see a little hypocrisy here?
It's absolute hypocrisy, right? I mean, this is just to do your everyday chores, to run to the grocery store, to get a coffee in the morning, to go to brunch, like to go to the gym, which actually people need to be going to the gym. Obesity is one of the key factors in COVID hospitalizations and comorbidities and whatnot. So we want to be promoting a healthy lifestyle. But I've had so many friends. I have stopped going into DC. I'm across the river. I'm in Virginia. But we've got, congressional offices that are now making the trek out to Virginia to do lunches and whatnot because of the hypocrisy of this bill. And it disenfranchises minorities more than anyone else, because if you look at the unvaccinated, especially in Washington, D.C., it's largely the African-American community.
Yeah, we had John McLaughlin on Pollster on the show late last week, and he said 77% of African-Americans support voter ID, Chris, which goes right along with the rest of the country. The numbers, again, right around 80%. 8 out of 10 Americans support voter ID. I'd love to meet the two people that don't support voter ID, but I want to pivot just for a second. I read an interesting article over the weekend. SNL, Saturday Night Live, the ratings are really bad. The show, you know how they say sometimes, well, maybe you've outgrown the show? No, when I was young, the cast was unbelievable. The cast now is just terrible. But here's the thing. It's not even remotely funny. Here's them doing Joe Biden late Saturday night when I was not watching.
America, I'm here to tell you there's one simple thing you can do to make this whole virus go away. Stop seeing Spider-Man. Just stop seeing Spider-Man. Okay, think about it. When did Spider-Man come out? December 17th. When did every single person get Omicron? The week after December 17th.
There's also Christmas that followed that. I said that on the show, though. I said, wow, they had a record opening, one of the biggest openings in U.S. history. People apparently aren't worried about Omicron. I don't even know the guy who's doing Joe Biden there. It was Jim Carrey. It was Jason Sudeikis back in the day, and he was really good. He was really funny. Chris, I read an article over the weekend that suggested that SNL is in season number 47. Lorne Michaels is 77 years old. He created SNL back in 1975, I think. He wants it to get to 50 when he'll be 80 years old. Then he'll retire, and that presumably would be the end of the show. You think that could happen? Because the show, if you watch this show, and I watch these clips Sunday morning, I don't even break a smile watching it anymore.
You know, Rob, I'm old enough to remember when Saturday Night Live started back in 1975. Used to be one of my favorite shows. Honestly, I haven't watched it since Eddie Murphy was on. But I think it can last 2 or 3 more years because they're basically just trying to focus on one audience, and that's those on the left and on the right coast. And those people will watch because they watch all the Tonight Show and those shows like that that are very political. But I think it can last 3 more years. But the audience are going to be all progressive liberals.
Make it to 50 seasons. By the way, Eddie Murphy, my opinion, best cast member all time in SNL history. There's a long list, but he's number one for me. Panel, we'll pick this back up top of the hour. Good start. Looking forward to it. Kelly Sadler, Christopher Arps. We'll see you in just a little bit.